So you can run percentage-based girls or you can run salary creators. So I kind of want to talk about like the pros and cons to both of them. Maybe even rant about it. I rant a lot on this YouTube channel if you don't know. So salary-based creators are great. Salary-based creators, if you don't know, is just essentially you pay a creator a flat rate fee month over month, regardless of how much the page makes, okay? A lot of dickheads in this space that will just not pay the creator if like the account doesn't make at least more, but that's not the way that you should run it. Regardless of how much the account makes, you should pay the creator, but at least until like you both are in cordial agreement that the working relationship isn't working. So then you also have like percentage-based agreements. Percentage-based agreements is where you take a certain percentage on the creator itself on the net earnings, okay? So what that kind of looks like is essentially creator is making, let's say $30,000 a month with or without your marketing acquisitions, and you take 30% of that. That's very simple. So there are pros and cons to both. Salary creators are going to be creators that aren't necessarily going to do much work and put much effort in because they are being paid that flat rate. You can get salary creators on model marketplaces or US-based creators. Typically, you want to pay anywhere from $1,300 a month, $700 a month, upwards of $5,000 a month. All of our salary creators get paid $7,500 to $10,000 a month, okay? We pay our salary creators a lot of money because we make a lot of money off of them, and I think it's only fair. I know a couple guys that are running salary-based creators. Creator gets paid like $3,500 a month, and they're making like $700,000 a month off of the page. I don't think that's fair, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong by any means either. I mean, when you look at like large corporations, enterprise companies, I mean, the average employee gets paid $2,000 a month, and the corporation in and of itself is bringing in billions of dollars. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But what you do need to understand is if you do sign salary creators, you need to expect that they're not going to put in much work because they have, generally speaking, no incentive to do so. So the only time that it would ever actually make sense for you to sign a percent or a salary-based creator is if you have marketing acquisitions internally that are working so good that do not need the creator to do any work. Like for an example, if you needed a creator to do 100 Instagram reels a day, a salary creator would not be in your best interest, okay? Because they're not going to do that because they're not paid enough money to do that. Would it make sense? At least not in long term or big picture, right? Occasionally you're gonna have like those motivated creators that will continue to work a lot and rigorously in the beginning, but then as time goes on, they're gonna start asking for more money or they're not gonna do all that work that you're asking them to do. That's great. So salary-based creators are awesome if you have marketing acquisitions internal that are working very good, that do not require the creator to do much work. Now, on the flip side, percentage-based creators are also awesome, especially if you're just getting into OFM because you don't hold any of the risk on yourself. So the risk of a salary-based creator is if marketing acquisitions go down, you still owe the creator whatever that agreed amount is. Let's say it's $5,000. Let's say the page, your marketing channels kind of go down for the month and you don't have any marketing, you still owe her that same $5,000 regardless. So if you're on a percentage based, it's all based off of the page's income, which means if the marketing acquisitions stop working, then you essentially, you don't take any risk on that because her pay is simply going to go down, and then your income's obviously going to go down as well, but you're not going to owe on top of anything, if that makes sense. So percentage based agreements also are pretty standard when it comes to like traditional agency, scaling models where you're not actually scaling models, the scaling model where you're horizontally scaling an agency and then using your ability to optimize landing pages, different conversion metrics, so on, that allow you to just inflate the earnings without necessarily marketing them. So that is when like percentage based typically comes in play. Now, it can also be very beneficial if you're running this type of model, let's say 10, 15, 20 creators. So you're horizontal, but you do have a good horizontal marketing infrastructure. So you can scale multiple models. And then what you would do is maybe an agreement, something like 50-50, where you guys each split the profit of the page, but all marketing expenses are split evenly as well. Does that make sense? So that because think about it, I mean, if you're only taking 30%, you really can't afford to pay for marketing acquisitions that are going to hold any weight, essentially, right? And so, splitting the page 50-50, and then you pay for half the marketing acquisition, they pay for the other half. They just Zelle you in separate from the actual cost of the normal invoice. Now, where this gets frisky is if your marketing channels start to stop working. What you need to do is you need to be very open, communicative, and transparent on that factor. Otherwise, they're going to feel like they're being scammed because there's no traffic coming in, but they're still paying 50% of the page, which is then going to cause a lot of problems and a lot of issues between you and the client. So make sure that, like, if you ever were to go into that type of agreement, the way you do it is responsible, communicative, transparent, etc. The alternative is you just take 30% and you don't provide any marketing acquisitions at all whatsoever. So like if you just want to get like a baseline, industry standard percent is 25 to 30%. You shouldn't take anything less than that. And that is not including marketing. Okay, that is just management. If marketing, then they either need to put some kind of monthly retainer that they're paying you an extra $5,000 a month or $3,000 that is dedicated to marketing, or you need to split the marketing cost between the two. But if you're only taking 30%, it still doesn't make sense. They would need to fund the marketing, but you need to make sure that the marketing that they're paying for is actually making both you and her more money, right? You don't want to just have her paying $5,000 in marketing, and then after your guys' split, she is losing, $1,100 or something crazy. So percentage-based girls work. Kind of one thing that I recommend is if you are somebody who is kind of new to the OFM space and you do not have a creator, I would not recommend going directly to a salary-based creator at all, because a salary-based creator is not going to do any work and it's going to make your job a whole lot more difficult than just having a creator that's percentage-based and then has incentive to actually work, right? And it's not saying that you need a creator that's going to work their tail off, but what it means is you need a creator that's at least going to do OFTV, a creator that's at least going to provide you the few sexting scripts and whatnot that you need, a creator that's going to provide you with a few individual things that you actually need. And then once they provide those to you, you're good to go. Right? And she can continue providing this content. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier. I'm in a position right now where we can take in 3 photos or 5 photos in total, and then 2 sexting scripts, and then that's it. That's it. Or 4 sexting scripts, my bad, in total. And then we'll never need content from a creator ever again. So it makes sense in my position. I don't need percentage-based creators. But if you're not in that position yet, then you need percentage-based creators. And so I recommend, if you're new coming into this space, instead of getting a salary-based creator that you're not going to be able to drive results on and then just running yourself into debt because you're paying this creator month over month without any results and without any income coming back in, you may as well just sign up percentage-based creators to just take off all of the risk on your side. It's not necessarily putting the risk on the other side, but it's kind of diluting the risk on both parties, right? So instead of you taking all the risk and the creator taking no risk, it's like you guys both take an even amount of risk on more of the business relations side of things more than anything else. So point of this whole video is just if there's a pro to having salary-based creators, but understand that it is also just a buzzword that is thrown around. And if you are to do a salary-based creators, you need to have the infrastructure and the back end and the resources and the team and the integrity and the back end system that can sustain a salary creator, because it's a large responsibility. And if you do not have that, then percentage-based creators is nothing. It's not a big deal. But it's just salary-based creators is a buzzword, and everybody thinks they need a salary-based creator when they can't afford a salary-based creator, which is not a big deal. Just run a percentage-based agreement, and you can also get agreements that are very high in favor to you. Right? So you can do 70-30, you get 70, they get 30. There are a lot of different agreements that you can make that just dilutes the risk on both parties completely. I mean, if you ran like a 90-10, it's almost better than running a salary agreement, because if the page starts to tank in earnings, you don't still pay this flat rate. You guys both get paid less money, if that makes sense. Anyway, point is, this is kind of just helpful for anybody who's like kind of contemplating between trying to get a salary creator or a percentage-based creator. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.